LeBron James and Steph Curry as possible future teammates. It's a solid maybe, Nick. Wrap your head around it. Brian Windhorst is saying LeBron has started recruiting Steph to join the Lakers after his contract expires. That he's, quote, some doubt about whether Steph wants to stay in Golden State. Nick, you love or you hate LeBron reportedly recruiting Steph to join the Lakers? Couples news.
All right, so this is a little bittersweet. And it's bittersweet because once upon a time, this was supposed to be the next generation Magic-Larry rivalry for the NBA. In 2016, it looked like that's what we were getting. Unfortunately, LeBron ruined it by coming back from 3-1 down and playing the greatest 3 games in NBA history. Draymond then compounded it by crying in his car and calling Kevin Durant. And we never really got to see the full version of LeBron versus Steph. And then Klay got hurt. And now the Warriors look to be far away. And you do start to wonder, is Steph Curry going to want to finish his career there? There is one note, one thing, and I listened to the whole podcast with Wendy, that he didn't mention that I will mention here. And I'm sure Wendy knows this, he just didn't say it. Steph could have signed an extension this past offseason. He was extension eligible until December 21st, just a few months ago. It would have been 3 years, and what was it? 3 years, 157, and he didn't sign it. Now, the one he's eligible for this coming summer would be 4 years, 215. If he doesn't sign that, then this will become the overwhelming story of the next year's basketball season. And the question would be, will Steph Curry potentially join LeBron for LeBron's age or year 20 season, his 20th year in the NBA? At that point, would it be fun to see? Yeah, potentially. Is it what I'm rooting for? It's not what I'm rooting for, because I believe the Lakers are good enough to win the title without Steph. And I think adding a MVP to an already ready-made champion is too much. But Brandon, and I'll throw it to you on this, if you're right about the Nets, and while I don't think you're right, let's for the moment say you are, that the Nets are just going to, once KD gets back, they're going to roll through everybody. If they do all of a sudden look like the 2017 Warriors, then I think there's a lot of guys around the league that are going to be talking, do we need to come together to beat these guys? Now, I don't think that's how this is going to go, but if it doesn't go that way, I don't think this is a possibility. If it does go that way, the door to me is slightly ajar for it, Brandon.
And that's why I absolutely love this, because that's the only way they can compete with the Nets. We're talking about, I mean, KD, how many more years does he have left? James Harden, how many more years does he have left? Kyrie, how many more years do he want to play? So it could only be a 2 or 3 year window where we can see these teams go head to head. But Nick, they absolutely need to make a move like this, because they have their hands full out in the West with the Clippers. Yeah. I'm saying it right now. Like, let's not forget the conversation that we were having last year when Kawhi and PG-13 teamed up. We were saying that was the team to beat in the West. And then all of a sudden, global pandemic, racial tension soaring, and nobody wanted to go to the bubble. And LeBron, because he is one of the greatest teammates, one of the greatest leaders ever, benefited from that. Not in a way where there should be an asterisk, but because he saw blood in the water and he went and handled his business. But if they want to compete, they need to do something like this. And then, but it's more so about Steph Curry than LeBron James. When Klay went down this offseason, and that was one of the first things I wondered. Does he really want to stay there? Like, this dude still has a lot of basketball left. And even when he slows down, guess what, Nick? He can still sit out at the perimeter and shoot the damn ball. So does he want to stay out there? He has to ask himself the question, do I want ring number 4? Do I want ring number 5? Do I want to compete? Their run was remarkable, Wilds, but that window is shut. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, the two greatest shooters this league has ever seen on the same team, insert Draymond Green and do what he does like the Dennis Rodman of the team, and then you insert KD. It was phenomenal. We're not going to see that again. LeBron James and AD, they're not going to let you. They're not going to let you run that way anymore. The Suns are up and coming, and the Clippers. You think they're not going to sit there and throw money at the situation? Come on, please. Steph Curry has to ask himself, does he want to compete? If he wants to compete, then he shouldn't sign that contract, Wilds.
I'm glad. All right, I'm sorry. I just have to check my Fox Bet app. I put a large wager on the fact that you would mention the Suns, so I just came up big. Thank you, Brandon. It's the Steph Lakers conversation.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. We can't mention the Suns on this show.
No, talk about Suns. I'm pro Suns, buddy. I'm pro Suns. All right, Nick, here's the thing. I think we just started to see some cracks in the Steph Curry will remain with the Warriors forever sort of dreamscape. I think that he's going to get tired of losing. I really do, and I love him hooking up with LeBron. When you go from champion, finals, champion, finals, then worst record, and now you're in 10th place. They're not a Klay Thompson healthy Achilles away from competing. Either someone needs to go there or Steph could leave. And I know you're saying like, but he was drafted there, he's so loyal. Well, there's only two guys, there's two All-Stars, and we tried to scan the entire NBA, but Dusty and I came up with two All-Stars, Dame and Steph, who are over 30 and have been with one team. Now, I don't think Dame is ever going to leave, although people try to pry him out of there. It feels like he's going to stay there. I don't think the same way about Steph. I think that he's going to look around like, you know what was more fun? Winning. And I don't want to cross sports here, but no one ever thought Tom Brady was going to leave. He was drafted there. He was built there. It's the most winningest franchise. He's like, you know what? This place can't win anymore. I'm out of here. It means more to me, to have another chapter on my career where I can win.
And listen, I know Warrior fans hate every part of this conversation, and they might hate this part the most. But when it was very clear, and we said it on this show when Warrior fans got mad, that they were no longer title contenders a year ago, even if Klay were healthy. Yep. And the moves they have made have not been the right ones. Trading for Andrew Wiggins was categorically not the right move. They drafted the wrong guy in Wiseman. Wiseman's a nice player. He is not LaMelo Ball. And now they are in this situation where if you look at their cap situation, I apologize for looking down, starting next season, Klay has 3 years and $120 million left coming off 2 traumatic year-long injuries. Draymond has 3 years and $76 million left, and Wiggins has 2 years and $65 left. They have no flexibility. They have no ability to get better in a substantial way. And I am interested in why Steph, if he was definitely 100%, because on the podcast with Wendy, Mark Spears said he's staying, and Mark Spears is up there and he's plugged in. He's staying, he's staying, he's staying. Well, if he's 100% staying, I'm just interested, Jenna, why he didn't sign the 3-year extension a few months ago.
Right.
You might say, well, that's because he can get an extra year and an extra $58 million. I don't think Steph is trying to squeeze the Warriors for $58 million when he's 37 years old. He could have signed this extension already and didn't. That, to me, is telling, Jenna.
But Brendan, let me ask you a quick question before we move on, just quickly. You played for a bunch of different teams in the NFL. Is there a small part of you that maybe in hindsight wishes you had only played for one team, that the team where you started is where you did the middles, where you broke your records, is where you finished? Is there something to that, to maybe Steph saying, yeah, it would be great to win, but it would also be equally as great to have spent my whole career at one place, which athletes just don't do anymore?
100%, and you just hit it on the head. Athletes don't do it anymore. But I would love to end my career in Denver. You think about legacy, you think about those things. But that has changed. The narrative and the whole landscape of how we approach sports now has changed, Jenna. So the Steph Currys of the world, you know, these guys are thinking about, you know, do I want to compete? Do I want to continue to lose? Go back a couple weeks. What did we see him on the sideline doing? It wasn't pouting. He was screaming for help, like, please, let's win. I'm tired of losing. He's banging the clipboard on the side, right? So I think those things play, but it depends on what he wants, because nowadays we don't see the Dames of the world anymore in the NFL and the NBA.
Right. All right, let's take a turn. Stay in the NBA. Talk some NBA medals. All right, Nick, Jay Crowder's 3 sealed to win over the Hawks in the final minute for the Suns last night. Very clutch, but Crowder just missing out on a medal. Nick, who we got today?
All right, we're going to go starting with the bronze as we always do.